So here we are, people. We are on the ground, on the floor. I just show you what I have under my plastic. I have those painter's carpets. It's a kind of it's a fabric and it softens it, and it's an additional protection for the floor. And on top of it I have two plastic bags. I never worked this close to the camera. I really hope it works out. So here we have our thin mix of black. It stood for a while, so I will see now if the consistency is really right. But I already think it thickened a lot, so I might have to add some water. And I'm really happy that this happens, because that shows you that you really have to check it every time. And I mean literally every time. The paint, the consistency changes after seconds, and also every brand is different. So really check it, adjust it, check it, adjust it. Why not? There's nothing more disappointing than having a beautiful painting and then you run out of paint while doing it, or the consistency, you see, that's much better. The consistency isn't right, and this canvas is already black primed. I don't need that much for the surface. If it would be a white canvas, then I would need much more paint. And you know me, I'm a piglet and I love to be covered in paint, so I do the edges with my fingers. Of course, you don't have to. You can take a palette knife, you can use brushes, whatever you need, whatever fancies you. So, what you also can do is to spread the paint with your hairdryer, which you use for Dutch purs usually. This is a small canvas, so I will try to blow out the paint with my mouth. That's why I did the test before, because the hairdryer has a little bit more speed, so I can have the paint a little bit thicker when I use the hairdryer. But for this small size, blowing is fine. But I will try to show you, and you might see it better in the next video where I use white, but I'm not sure. I'll just show you. By the way, that's my hairdryer, and yes, I also use it for my hair. Temperature should be cold, and I start on level 1, and maybe I have to enlarge it. I just try to even out the surface. I didn't talk because you wouldn't hear me anyways. Be careful if you use a hairdryer, because then the stuff gets really messy. You won't believe how far the paint will fly when you blow it with the hairdryer. That's also why you start on the lowest level and try to keep the nozzle as straight downwards as it goes. Because then the straighter the nozzle goes, the more control you have about it. And as I have a regular hairdryer, I taped a part of it to focus the airstream a little bit more. So now, and as always, a torch, because I'm not sure if you can see it, but there are a lot of bubbles inside, which is regular when you use the hairdryer, because that's what it is. It is air. And here you can also see if you cleaned your canvas during the preparation right, because otherwise you would already see where the paint peels off or doesn't connect. So, okay, the edges are clean, the bubbles are out. My intention for this painting is, as I said before, I will have a white one and a black one, and I want to have a circle in the end, so I can put them next to each other. And as I told you before, I have those small bottles to apply my paint. You can also do it with a spoon. You can take a paper cup, because there you can squeeze the edge, because you need, or you should have, a little bit of control over what you are doing. So first I mark my circle. It's not necessary that balance in my bigger bottles, and here we go. That's a really nasty paint, and it's the one I mixed before. But that's the thing with fresh paint, the fresher the mix is, the higher the risk of lumps. So here we are. We make several layers, so it's not that bad if it gets a little bit thicker and thinner. So we have the first circle. And I want a brighter gold. So, see, this one goes a little bit better. And we have the silver. I take a little bit more of the silver because the canvas already is a little bit dark. Then I use just a few drops of black. We will already have some black in the blow over. And the white, I need the thin one, I also use for the next painting, because I don't want the white to be too massive in this painting. I don't want the contrasts to be too heavy. If you don't have these bottles, the lumps could also be in your paint, in your cup, and then you need a pinch or something like this to get them out of the paint before you blow it. But that's okay. You can do it, because those lumps usually are not that small. And even if you have some smaller ones in your paint, it doesn't really matter. You will see it, because you can pull them out or you leave them inside. That's your decision. So I think that's enough for the small canvas. Then we do black again around the bow we have here. And it has to be quite a lot. And then usually we would use, for bigger canvas, we would use the blow dryer, and we blow the black over the metallics. But as you see, the consistency of the paint is perfect, so I can do it with my mouth. And from the inside out too. So I'm sorry, you just will see my head and my neck, but that's the way it is. So that's pretty nice already. So next round with the torch. My torch hasn't automatical starter by itself, that's why I have to use an additional lighter. And now we blow out. I think I need a little bit more paint in here. It's not as much as I wanted it to be. and by the way, something that happens very often when you work with your mouth, you might be a little bit dizzy, or might get a little bit dizzy from the plane. But no worries, that's absolutely normal. So, I'm already pretty satisfied. Maybe a little bit here and there. And you know we did very little in the stripe, so that's fine. When you think or know that you have paint under the black, then place straight forwards down, because then you blow the black away and open up. So I like it already, and that's pretty much it. And I'm pretty sure there will be much more color come out when it's dry. So that's our result for now.